Hi, Anne Marie.
Hi Terry, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good.
Who are you?
Who am I? I'm Anne-Marie Scott. I'm Deputy Provost at Athabasca University here in Western Canada. And I'm based in British Columbia. So I'm in Te Kamloops to Secwepemc, Kamloops, on the traditional and unceded territory of Secwepemcúlecw. And I have to say I'm incredibly grateful as an uninvited settler for the care and um, pleasure of living and working in this place and the care this land has afforded me. And who are you?
I am Terry Green. Oh, no, bad with it pointing. And I am a senior e-learning designer in Trent Online at Trent University in Peterborough, Ontario, which is on the traditional territory of the Mississauga Anishinaabe. And Trent itself is on that land, and my home is on that land. So I am grateful to be able to raise my family and work on the land, and appreciate it, of course. Uh, so why are we here, Anne-Marie?
Terry, I think we're here to talk about a crazy idea you had about hip hop and online learning. So maybe we should start by explaining the title, Check the OL or Check the Online Learning, because this was your brainchild from a book you read about hip hop.
Yeah, so last summer, I just had a whole lot of course building to do and a lot of time. So my ears were free to listen, and I kind of fell in love with hip hop. I started to want to dig deeper, and so I found a book to read in my spare time as I was listening during the day to all this great music, called Check the Technique. And it was called Liner Notes on Groundbreaking Hip Hop Through the Years. So it would basically, the journalist, the writer, the author would get in touch with whoever they could involved in the making of the most groundbreaking hip hop. Not necessarily the biggest hits, but just ones that really pushed the limit, because hip hop is so innovative and boundary pushing. And it was very interesting to hear these stories and learn more about these albums and all the stuff that had to happen to make them happen, and who's involved and everything. And it made me start to see kind of similarities between the creation of hip hop music and the creation of online learning, for one, but also this method of telling these stories that the book did, Check the Technique, could be a great book for online learning itself, because there are those groundbreaking learning experiences that have happened. So I went ahead and ran this idea by you to see if you thought it was a silly idea or not. And you said, let's do it. Is that how you remember it?
That's how I remember it. You pitched it as a book, and we ended up doing a podcast, which I think
Yes.
is a great way to start. I think our plan is still to write up some of what we've learned into a book, because I think there are some common threads we can draw across the first 10 episodes that we've done. But I do think your genius idea of doing it as a podcast to start with was good, because those conversations were really reflective and open and casual conversations that a lot of really interesting insights came out of. We've talked to 10 different people now about uh, various learning experiences in a really wide variety. Some are still ongoing.
Mm-hmm.
Some have morphed and changed. Some have faded away in the mists of time. Some only happened once. Um, Am I allowed to ask about a favorite? Is that unfair? Or
Don't want to forget to mention, we asked what people thought should be covered before we ever stopped, and got, we got 100+ suggestions. So this could keep going for a while. um, but but then we just picked one to start with, and kind of moved along from there. And some ones we didn't expect came in, and ones we were putting off to the end. We put off to the end. But a favorite, it's hard to say. Like, we kicked things off with Laura Gibbs, the online course lady, as she's known. And I really enjoyed, like, that really showed to me that we were onto something, because of the way how she built her courses, the subject matter of it was myth and folklore, and how myth and folklore comes to be was shown in how she built her courses, and it was reminiscent of that, and that's not quite the right word, but that was so neat, and like, so for the what is being taught and learned itself to inform the style of the online learning was so cool. I thought that was a great way to kick things off. How about you? What was your favorite?
Well, just listening to you describe that there, I'm thinking about that phrase we learned from Alpha Rees when he was talking about ModPo,
Mhm.
meta-pedagogical, where the actual pedagogical form or design reflects the subject matter. And I think that came across strongly in a
Yeah.
number of the courses that we people that we talk to. I mean, that one I particularly enjoyed, though I think we were both white knuckling that one, keeping up
With
with
Hal, oh man, Modpo. Yeah.
I mean, he's what, 9 years into teaching that course as a MOOC, and there are people who've been taking that course
The whole
all
time.
the whole time. They're coming back again and again and
Yeah.
again. And so that I thought was fascinating. And that was a thread that also ran through quite a number of the people that we spoke to, the extent to which so many of these courses were really attentive to the building of community,
Mhm.
and also to like breaking down those walls of the academy and allowing other people in. So, be it a MOOC ostensibly run from within a university, but obviously teaching to a global audience, or something like the Great VCU Bike Race book,
Oh
which
yeah.
was about, exploring an event that was happening in around the university, around the town, or Equity Unbound, where you've got three teachers in three very different countries bringing together a kind of global classroom around a set of kind of key themes around equity in education. So lots of people doing it in different ways, but
Mhm.
that really um, interesting attention to community building. And that really, we're recording these obviously over COVID. So at the same time as we're listening to these stories, we're in our own institutions trying to encourage our colleagues to build more community in their online learning, to support the flip that everybody's been making as well. So that was really timely, I think.
What do you think? What do you think is next for this project?
I mean, I think we need to maybe re-listen to what we've recorded so far. There are more interesting lessons that can be teased out, and I certainly think there's quite a bit to be written up from it. And it would be good to start creating this information in an alternative format. I mean,
Mhm.
you said a book, but an online open book can be all sorts of things. Um, but I think it would be good to maybe also start thinking about a season two.
Mhm.
We should probably just say if people are interested in contributing to this project, then have a listen to what we've recorded so far and hit us up on Twitter and give us your suggestions of what else we should be thinking about, who we should be talking to. Tell us about the not obvious courses that we don't know about,
Mhm.
and people who are doing excellent work but maybe not always being seen and heard. We'd be really interested in that.
Absolutely. And we should mention also that we are, or I am, I'm sure you are, grateful to be hosted on Voice Ed Radio, in order to get the podcast out in all the podcasty places through that community, which is really
Absolutely.
cool. Thanks so much for the chat, and we'll see you out there in the Open Ed conference space, I hope. And it's been
Absolutely.
fun.
No, thank you, Terry. This has been one of the best things to happen during COVID.